Hello, everyone, and welcome to Around South Jersey. My special guest tonight is the newest Cumberland County Commissioner, John Capizola. Johnny, how are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
You've never had a bad day, have you?
I've had plenty of bad
You
days.
don't show him.
Oh, okay.
He's always got that great smile, and just really is a very charismatic person.
Thank
you know, let's talk about growing up. I know your dad's name's John. That's why you're
is.
John Jr.
Yep.
And tell me a little bit about your dad, what he did.
So my father, he was he was a little bit of an entrepreneur. He started his own snack company years ago. He worked down the shore. It was called Cap Snacks. When he was younger, he worked for Two Guys in the area.
Sure, I remember Two Guys.
That's
yeah.
before my time. We were actually just talking about that the other day. I asked him, I said, what was your favorite job that you ever had? What did you enjoy the most? And he said he really enjoyed managing Two Guys. But then after that, he started working at Frito-Lay. And so that's what got him into the snack industry.
Gotcha.
And then he had an opportunity. I don't know if you remember Eagle Snacks?
Yeah.
They had the Eagle peanuts. If you got on an airplane, you got the Eagle little package of Eagle peanuts. And so he had an opportunity, bought a truck, kind of like the Tasty Cake trucks that you see around.
I know what you mean.
So he went around the shore and he delivered snacks. But then unfortunately, Frito-Lay bought out Eagle potato chips and Eagle snacks.
Oh, I see.
So then he got involved. And he just was moving around different kinds of snacks, but that's what he did for the majority of his career.
It's nice, though, to be self-employed.
Yeah.
To be able to enjoy the time. And
He spent a lot of time at work, though. That was the bad part.
yeah,
though,
that
you
is.
know.
That's a long,
Early
long
days,
day.
long,
Yeah, right.
long nights,
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
I had the fun thing of getting up on Saturdays, 5 o'clock in the morning, and popping lace in the potato chips. That's the term, popping lace. So I spent a lot of times in ShopRites and Acme's on my summers and my weekends when I was a child. But I enjoyed it.
But at least, I got to tell you my story. At least your stuff was light. My dad had sand trucks, and we would go to, it was 10 tons, so, they would put him in places where the streets were narrow in Philly and New York or whatever. So this one weekday, it was in the summertime, I was 15, I think. So we had to go to one of the cathedrals in New York City. So normally with 100-pound bags of sand, it was just he and I.
What was the sand for?
It was to sandblast the building.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, we get up there, and obviously we know it's just he and I. Well, normally what you're able to do is you tilt the body a little bit, and you can slide the bag, and then the person on the ground grabs the bag, walks 2 or 3 steps, and then puts it down.
Okay.
Well, this cathedral, I had to go up 3 steps and put it inside of the vestibule.
What did these bags weigh?
100 pounds.
Oh, okay.
So it was like, oh my goodness, my dad.
That's where you got
both.
That's where you got this physique.
Yeah, right. Whoa, it was not. So I know what you mean. My dad had his own trucking company, and most of the time sometimes you'd take bulk sand. A lot of times it was bag sand. It was like, I'll never forget.
I know what those narrow streets are. When talking about driving through Philadelphia,
Oh, yeah.
I had a job when I was about 19 or 20 years old, somewhere around there, and I was working for a company delivering beach chairs and beach products, and I had to drive this box truck up to Philadelphia and drive down those little streets in North Philadelphia, pick up the beach supplies, and head down to the shore.
Yeah.
But it was fun, spending your days delivering beach chairs.
You've done a little entrepreneur stuff yourself, right?
I have been working. That's one thing. I've had a lot of jobs in my life.
Me too.
But I've had longevity in all those jobs. I've never been fired for a job. But I started off at 13 years old. My friends owned Stewart's Root Beer on Dulcie Drive in Vineland.
One of my favorite places.
Love it. I don't know if you know the Rossinises. Marianne Rossinice has been an owner for many years, and her husband before, Louis Rossinice.
I love the raisin bread with tuna.
Oh,
that's
tuna
one of my
ray.
favorites.
Tuna ray. Yeah, you can't beat it. Oh, yeah, the tuna ray, that's good stuff.
Great.
But I started there at 13 years old. Now, I wasn't, really working, but I was helping out. I was going there with my friend. I was riding my bike. That's actually when kids actually rode bikes years ago. I'd ride my bike from East Vineland all the way out to Dulcie Drive.
Wow.
My mom didn't know that, but I would drive out there, and they'd give me a couple dollars to help out. But then by that next summer, she saw my work ethic, and I was working, 10-hour days sometimes, making $5.05 an hour, and I thought that was a lot.
Yeah.
And
it's better than my minimum wage.
Listen, my parents were not buying me the $100 Air Jordans that I wanted at that age. So they were like, "You want them? You're going to go buy them yourself." So, but I worked there till I went off to college.
Where'd you go to college?
I started off at Cumberland County College,
Good.
which was an awesome experience.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready to go to college out of high school. You don't know that at the time.
Right.
But I graduated 17 years old. I started at a younger age. I'm an October child.
Yeah.
And don't ever start your kids at that age.
No,
I would suggest,
especially
as a
boys.
teacher,
Yes.
it's to have that extra year to mature. I needed it. But I went to Cumberland County College, and I saw that I wanted a lot more for myself. I was like, I'm tired of I was getting bad grades in high school, and I struggled a lot. But once I got to college, I got on the right path, and I was like, I want to be successful in life when it comes to my education. And I spent a year and a half at at Cumberland County College, and I transferred to the University of Delaware.
Oh, that's great.
After that. So I finished my bachelor's degree in education at Delaware.
That's super. My daughter-in-law or my granddaughter goes to Delaware. My daughter-in-law went
Blue
to
Hens.
Delaware. Yeah, and Jeff Trout went to Delaware.
Yes, great school, amazing school.
It really is. That's fantastic. So when you graduated, where did you go?
After I graduated, I started off. I spent 1 year. I graduated actually in the fall, so I spent that rest of that school year at the Vineland High School 910 building as a special ed health teacher.
Okay.
And I wasn't ready to go back to school. They were like, we love you, we want to keep you, but I had enough school, and so I had an opportunity to go to Atlantic City in a health and phys ed position over there.
Okay.
So I worked over there for a few years, and I happened to be at ShopRite, and I saw Mary Gruccio, who I knew.
Love Mary.
Mary's the best.
And she's sweet.
She's the best.
Oh, gosh, she's
I
great.
saw her. I was with my mother helping her with something, but she was like, I have a phys ed position opened up at my school. Why don't you apply? So I applied. So I ended up coming to Vineland. That was about 2004-ish, somewhere in there. And I've been teaching in Vineland ever since. I taught at Max Leuchter Elementary School for a few years. That closed down, and then they moved all of us to DePalto Elementary School. And now I was there for 12 years, and now I've been at Rossi Elementary School, currently.
Oh, I got to tell you, one of the guys I like almost as much as you works part-time at Target. And he said he has your son. He's a phys ed teacher.
Okay,
You know?
part-time at Target. I'm not sure who that is.
Okay, I'll think of his name in a moment. Andrew.
Yeah. Okay.
But I was talking about
Oh,
you.
okay.
He says, oh, yeah, he says he's great. And he
Yeah.
said he teaches phys ed.
I didn't know he taught at Target, too. That's cool.
He works at Target.
Oh, that's
part-time.
awesome. That's awesome.
That's where I met him. What a great guy. Just it can't do enough for you. And you've got that personality too, where you love to help people, you love being with people, and so do I. And it's funny because I gravitated to you because I could see in you what I like in people. That you're genuine, you're gregarious, you're helpful, and this kid was a really great guy. So it is nice to be able to be around good people that you enjoy. And folks, I have to tell you, I had the pleasure of campaigning with Johnny back 2 years ago. When
it was hard to keep up with you.
Oh, get
when
out
we
of
were
here.
knocking on doors, it was very hard to keep up with you. He's quick. He doesn't look like it, but he's
for
quick.
a fat guy, I can move. Yeah, I will say that. But it was nice to see how the people reacted to you and you genuinely love people, and I do too. And speaking of loving people, my God, Rosemary, I wanted to talk about her. Your mother-in-law, you told me passed away about 12 years ago today or now. But I just thought the world of that woman. Oh my God, could she make the best food?
She was great.
Serafina's, right?
Serafina's. She started off years and years ago. This is before my time. They had C&A Pizza. That was her first pizzeria when her family moved from Italy in the 70s. They ended up going back after a while, and that's how my wife was, raised in Italy. She was actually born here, but then she was raised in Italy, and that's a long story. I don't think we have enough. An hour wouldn't be enough time to explain that whole situation, but yeah, that's kind of where I got my entrepreneurial spirit, was from my mother-in-law. Yeah. I learned a lot from her. She was a workhorse. She'd go in early in the morning. Yeah. I spent a lot of time with her. She didn't have time to do everything, so she was teaching me. I helped her do her books, and I really got into it. And I was young. I was in my I started dating my wife when I was 17, but when they opened up the restaurant, I was probably 18 years old. I was helping her do the books by the time I was 22 years old, all the way up to the day she passed away. Wow. And we took it from Pizza Bella in Vineland. We had this small little pizzeria, and I say we, I mean the entire family, because when if you ever in the restaurant business, especially Italians, it's a family business.
It sure is.
You're involved whether you like it or not. Yeah. But we were all there. We worked our butts off, and I watched her, and she taught me a lot. And I took that entrepreneurial spirit into my life, and I actually bought the laundromat that was right next to Serafina's in Belleville. It was called Parkside Laundromat.
Yes, right. I know what you mean. Yeah, right.
And I enjoyed running that for some time, but after she passed away, everything that was involved with the business, it didn't, couldn't work out. But and then I ended up opening another business called Mulch Man, and I'm in the process of maybe selling that.
Well, I need mulch, so
all right. Well, I know the right guy, not the right person, but it's definitely brought me to this point in my life, and who knows what that next thing when it comes to my entrepreneurial life.
Yeah,
but
it's funny because I was teaching, and like talked about when I was graduated high school or college rather. It was actually that's a long story. John, I started college a week after high school, and I was 17, like you were. My birthday was December. So I started college, took 9 credits. Well, those days you only needed 6 to substitute.
Oh, wow.
So at 17 years old, I was substituting up until 18th birthday. Then I had substituted at girls' phys ed at junior high. I thought, this is weird, me being 18.
Right.
But the guy that taught it was a man. And I just really love subbing and meeting people. And it made me know I wanted to be a teacher. And I know you love kids. I love being around kids. They're little people.
They keep you young.
They do. They're super. And to me now, all those years ago that I did that, I run into many of the people that were my students who are adults now, and I'm sure you do too.
I can't go anywhere. I mean, I'm not tooting my own horn, but when you've taught for as many years as I have in Vineland, my wife is like, it's a pain to go out with you because you get stopped. Oh, Mr. even walking into, Cumberland Mall right now, you have little girls running up and hugging you, and the parents are like, who's this man that my wife's running up there? And I'm the phys ed teacher, but they keep you young. I laugh all day, every day at work,
Kids are great, aren't they?
They are. They keep me young.
And it was interesting because as I was doing that, I always wanted to do radio. So I ended up getting my degree. And I substituted for a couple years. Then they put me in full-time at special ed for 2 years. And then when I got my degree, I went back to 7th grade math and science. But I just loved helping the kids and being there with them and have that opportunity. So then I started becoming like you, the entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. Well, I think you and I are really somewhat similar in the fact that I started working at 13 years old also on a chicken farm across the street from my house. And then I started mowing the lawns all the way. My house was up where Walmart is now, on North Delsey Drive. And, did that, and then at 16 I went and worked at the Acme, and then of course, as I say, 17 I started substituting. But I never just had one job, too. You either, because
even right now I don't have one job.
That's what I mean. Yeah, now you got 2 with the school and the county commissioner's job.
Oh, there's more than that. I don't know how much I'm going to be bartending anymore, but I bartended at Eastland for many years. Yeah. And before that, Jack's Place in Avalon for many years.
Yeah, I used to run into you at Eastland all the time.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. And that was the big. I taught the little kids at night, and I saw the big kids. I mean, during the day, and the big kids. I saw their parents at night. But it was just it's always a good opportunity to be in the community. That's kind of what got me interested in politics. You have your ears open. You're meeting all these people, and even all the events that I was bartending, I was meeting all these politicians, and I was hearing what they had to say. Yeah. And I started paying attention at a young age to politics, and I enjoyed it. And my wife thinks I'm crazy, but I enjoy it. I really do. And I really care about my community, and that's 100% what it's about. You're not getting rich being a county commissioner. No. You're not. It's something that I care about this community, and I want to see it be successful, and I'm going to do everything I can to make that happen. I don't know what that is. I just got into the job, and I'm going to find my niche, and I'm going to go full force.
I'm sure you will. We're talking with Johnny Capizola, the newest county commissioner in Cumberland County, and we'll be back to talk about how John got that position and many other things right after these messages.
More than a century ago, General Tire was born, right here in America. Since then, we've made a name for ourselves by making tires you can depend on. Tires built to handle any road this country can throw at them, and relied on by every kind of driver. So you know that no matter where life takes you, with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
I'm Brian Lankin, 3rd generation business owner, Al Shoes. Been at the same location since 1961, our 61st year. We specialize in work boots, work shoes, orthopedic shoes, baby walking shoes, and school shoes. We go up to a men's 17 and a woman's 13. It's $5 off, $25, and $10 off $100 if you mention that you've seen this.
When you want delicious food made from scratch soups and locally sourced ingredients, you head to Larry's 2 on Main Road in Vineland, New Jersey. Family owned and operated, Larry's 2 boasts one of the area's only salad bars with a great selection of fresh vegetables, rolls, dressings, and more. In their cafe, enjoy a piping hot cup of your favorite beverage made by one of their skilled baristas. Their complimentary Wi-Fi allows Larry's 2 to be the meeting destination with a friend or small group. They also offer banquet rooms that can accommodate 10 to 120 guests for any occasion. Open from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. Sunday through Thursday and 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. on Friday and Saturday. Call Larry's 2 today at 856-692-9001. Larry's 2 Restaurant and Cafe, located at 907 North Main Road in Vineland, New Jersey.
The most important decisions a family can make are usually made around the kitchen table. At DeMarco Luisi Funeral Home, we believe pre-planning and the difficult decisions you face with the loss of a loved one should also be made around the comfort of a table, like a family. Our friendly, kind, and compassionate staff is committed to helping you get through this most difficult time. In your time of need, trust DeMarco Luisi Funeral Home, Vineland.
Welcome back to Round South Jersey, Cumberland County's newest county commissioner, John Capizola Jr., who was just sworn in last Tuesday.
Yes.
Right? And we were there to, well, at least our cameras were there to see that. I want to mention to you, too, and I have to give credit to Doug Albrecht. There's the ceremony right there. You see it. Yeah.
There's my wife, and I don't know, I think that's my sister all the way to the right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I think my mom behind her. It was nice.
Yeah, it really was. That Doug Albrecht wanted us to televise the meetings. The way the contract was set up, that I had to, compete with anybody else that wanted to. Last year was we were just going to tape the one meeting, the regular meeting of the county commissioners,
right? And
we would show that the next night. And okay. I also bonused the county, and I showed it on Sundays. But then when Doug Albrecht got to be the director, he said, look, I want them televised live. I want them on YouTube and Facebook and all that. So now your county commission meetings are live on Channel 22. They're on YouTube. They're on Facebook. So, anytime you want to see it, you can watch it. And then, of course, you can go back to YouTube or Facebook and see it again, and whatever you want to. But at least it'll keep you very much informed. So to his credit, I thought that was a pretty good move.
I agree.
A lot of people, older people, watch TV. They still watch Channel 22. We have 67,000 homes that Channel 22 goes into. But we could never, Johnny, we could never measure how many people were out there because we didn't have Nielsen ratings. Yeah. But now that we have YouTube and...
I'm a YouTube watcher. So that's why I watch on YouTube.
And Facebook. Last year we had over 500,000 views for Millville High School football.
It's awesome.
Because, of course, they won the states, and they won them again this year. So, and any time Vineland Millville goes, we have a lot. So you went to Vineland High.
I did. It was a great experience.
Who was your favorite teacher?
My favorite teacher, who stuck out to me more than anything? I had a lot of favorite teachers, but who stuck out to me the most was actually an administrator, and that's why I actually want to be. I have my master's degree in school leadership, and I remember he had a big impact on me, and I actually teach with his daughter right now, Mr. Martino. He was a vice principal at the 1112 building at Vineland High, and I don't know his first name actually. It's escaping me, but he just had a good influence on me. I would go to his office. I would help him with different things when I was probably driving my teachers crazy. But watching him in his job, I really looked up to him, and he took the time to put some work into me, and I appreciated that. So I tell her, his daughter all the time that's kind of why I want to be an administrator.
Oh, that's great.
I'm ready for that next step.
Well, that's good. That's a wonderful thing.
I've been teaching for over 20. I'm at 22, 23 years now. I'm ready for that next challenge.
Yes, you are.
Yeah,
that's right.
I'm ready for that leadership position.
That's a good thing. So let's talk about
school districts out there.
I have an in with some guy. I'll talk to him for you. talk about your wife a little bit. I see that she teaches Italian at Ocean City High School. That's
She
cool.
does. My wife was a 3-language major
Wow.
at Delaware. She speaks fluent English, obviously. Yeah. She lives in America, but she speaks Italian, Spanish, and she speaks French.
Oh, my gosh.
I got a good story. We are in Paris. We're in a cab. We have the cab driver that speaks French. We have me, obviously, that's speaking in English. And we have her friend from Italy with us. And to watch her go back and forth from the French to the English to the Italian, she's like, "Guys, be quiet. I need to." But it's impressive to watch my wife. She's a very intelligent woman.
Oh, that's super.
And I wouldn't be here without her right now.
Oh, that's great.
Probably don't tell her that enough. But.
Well, I loved her mother, so she's got to be a fantastic. And I've met your wife from time to time at Serafina's. And I have to give myself credit. I stole them away from Vineland and got his mother-in-law, Rosemary, to come to Millville.
He put the You did. I did. So we were at Pizza Bell in Vineland on Main Road and Main and Magnolia. And the place, we were outgrowing it, and you kept coming in there, and Rosemary, we have this good spot, and she kept, having me come out here to Millville, and everything lined up, and it worked out. It was seamless. We closed the doors at Pizza Bella. The next day, we were busy as could be in Millville, and it was awesome. It was East Vineland's not too far away. That was our main customer base, so a lot of the people came over there, and then we got this new Millville crowd of people, and it's a shame that she did pass. She was in a car wreck, and she ended up passing away a few months later.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, she was in a car wreck, and her injury. She passed away from her injuries some months later. But we'd still be open today. Who knows where we'd be? We'd probably need a warehouse with how big we were getting.
Who was the fellow that was there?
Well, we had
one guy.
He was actually, a lot of people thought it was her husband. It wasn't her husband. The guy in the front his name was Sal.
Yeah, that's right.
The how you doing guy. How you doing? How you doing? Yeah. Great guy, Sal, hard worker. He was actually a cousin of the family.
I see.
They're from the same town in Sicily. And my father-in-law, my real father-in-law, who actually lives around the corner from me today, his name's Antonino, and he worked in the back. He was the guy making the eggplant. So when you like that eggplant and that sauce and that bread from Serafina's,
oh my God, it was so good.
You were tasting my father-in-law Nino. He actually we just got him over. He was retired for some years. He worked at 5 Points for a little while after Serafina's closed to stay busy. He's getting older now. But he was bored. He missed being in the kitchen, so he actually just started working for the Vineland Public School System.
Oh, super.
And he works at my old school, DePaulo Elementary School.
Neat.
He only works a few hours a day, but it makes him happy, makes him feel productive.
Yeah, and he gets to see people.
He does. He loves
put
it.
out some good food. And
he loves it.
That is really cool.
Yep.
So and I when Johnny came in today, another Capizola that I just love is Petey Cap.
Don't hold that against me. Anything that Pete does, Pete's great.
He is so cool. He is Newfield Bank. I mean, it's like Petey Cap, Newfield Bank, and stuff like
definitely.
that. But what a great guy.
It's usually the first question when people, how are you related to Petey Capizola? Yeah. He's come in contact with so many people, being with Newfield Bank over the years. Actually, my grandfather was a banking guy too. His name was Freddie Capizola. He worked for Minatola. My great-grandfather was one of the founding fathers of Minatola Bank years and years ago.
That's neat. That was a great bank.
Yeah, it was. It was that good hometown. Kind of like the way Newfield is now, that hometown feeling.
Yeah, that's true. You're right. Newfield's got the hometown. In fact, Minatola Bank lent me, believe me, lots and lots of money. A corporation I had called Clover Cable back in the early 80s.
Wow.
Take a guess what the interest rate was.
I can't.
This was well over $1 million.
22%.
18.
Oh man, 18%. I know it was a lot.
You're right.
That's actually why I'm here tonight, Jim. I'm actually here to collect on that interest payment. All right.
Whoa, we did pay.
From the 80s and the other.
And again, when we sold the company, oh my God, the amount of capital gains tax was astronomical.
18%. That's amazing.
It's just but I mean the regular interest rate. That's just where it was at that time.
And you didn't even think twice. You got the loan, and
they were wonderful to us. They really were. Minatola Bank was just super, and there's nothing like working with local people.
That's what it's all about.
I got to tell this story. I won't mention the bank, but my son was involved with a national type of bank that's well known throughout the country. So I didn't realize my cousin Rob Curley is president of TD Bank.
Okay. Oh, wow.
And TD Bank talks about America's most convenient bank.
Yes.
Because they're open all these hours, 7 days a week and all. Well, this bank that my son went to has to be the most inconvenient bank I've ever seen in my life. I went to Millville Savings, got some money, was going to go deposit it in his checking account because he's out in Idaho now. This is on a Friday afternoon at 10 after 4. Guess what? This bank is closed.
Oh, on a Friday?
So, on a Friday at 10 after 4. So I said, well, okay, the lobby's closed, but I'm sure the drive-in's open. No drive-in.
Oh, wow.
All they have is the ATMs. I said, get out of here. And it's like, I will never go. No. And the other factor, too, the same bank, I don't know one person that works there. Whoever's there doesn't come to Rotary, Kiwanis, nothing. You never see them at chamber events.
That's a shame.
Nobody represents it. On the other side, you've got so many great local banks that we talked about with Newfield and
Capital. You have
South Ocean First.
Ocean First.
Right.
That's like I use Capital. Ocean First too. One of my banks.
Good people too, and they give back to the community and stuff like that.
They do.
But anyway, my cousin.
And you see a lot of people from the community. You know, you could easily hire people from out of the community, but when you walk in an Ocean First bank, you know, I see people that I definitely know and that live in our community, which is important.
It is. It's really good,
and we need to do that more. I'm tired of seeing a lot of my friends and family and just people I know. We got to keep those successful people here, those bankers, and we need to create an industry, and we need to have a reason to stay. We don't need people to get rich from Cumberland County and then go move somewhere else. We want them to stay and be a part of, be a stakeholder in the community.
We want to talk about a great stakeholder in the community, John Ruga.
Oh, God.
Is he amazing?
I want to go golf at that golf course.
Yeah. Well, in fact, I went to Jody Farabella's retirement dinner Friday night, and John was there. But I'll tell you, I was the mayor of Millville in the early 2000s when John opened his first business. It wasn't Northeast Precast at that time, but what he was doing was amazing. It was like they were taking the cinder block, they were building it together to make a wall for a basement, and then they would go and deliver the whole wall while you're saving all that time, by being done mechanically or whatever was done. I thought, wow, this is amazing. And then what he did, and he was also very complimentary to me, he talked about after I wasn't in the mayorship in Millville anymore, nobody came to see him. So he ended up going to Vineland. Oh, he's still doing stuff in Millville, too.
Right.
But he went to Vineland, and South Vineland's doing a phenomenal job and has been very, very successful. Good. And it's nice to see a local guy successful. And started. I watched his starting thing, and I'm sure the business wasn't worth anywhere near what it is now. But there's a guy who gives local jobs. One of my former Little Leaguers, Tom Teleli, he's the general manager. Johnny Dupe, who used to be the county engineer, is his engineer. He just stole away my CPA. Do you know Matt Preziosi? But Matt's on Lincoln Avenue. I'm not sure. He's going to go and be CFO for John and stuff. Yeah, so
I actually used the Northeast Precast for that current home that I'm in. I just built a new home where my parents sold their older home, and we're cohabitating. They have their own little area in the house, and we use Northeast Precast. So it's great. It's a great product. So anybody that does need it,
and he's very generous, and he was there. I think he was picking up the tab at the place for Jody.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was wonderful. It was and my hat's off to Jody Farabella.
You see a lot of work going on over there. I just passed there the other day. You see a lot of stuff going on.
It is, isn't it? Yeah,
it's
all
exciting.
The time.
It's good for the community.
Good. Yes, it is, exactly. And it's given back to the community and hiring local people like you talked about.
Definitely.
We're talking with Johnny Capizola, who is now the newest Cumberland County Commissioner, was sworn in last Tuesday evening, and we welcome him on behalf of the county aboard, and we'll be back to talk about what responsibilities he's gained at the county and much more right after these messages.
The most important decisions a family can make are usually made around the kitchen table. At DeMarco Luisi Funeral Home, we believe pre-planning and the difficult decisions you face with the loss of a loved one should also be made around the comfort of a table, like a family. Our friendly, kind, and compassionate staff is committed to helping you get through this most difficult time. In your time of need, trust DeMarco Luisi Funeral Home, Vineland.
Complete Care Health Network has some big news to share with you. We're here opening more locations and offering more services every day,
including our newest locations on Pearl Street in Bridgeton and High Street in Millville.
We're here with convenient, high-quality, and accessible healthcare services all under one roof.
We're here just a call or an email away.
We're here to provide compassionate care for you and your family.
We're here and we're ready when you are.
Complete Care Health Network. Ready when you are.
In South Jersey, we do things our own way. We say things out loud, face things head on, and never back down. And that's how we fight cancer. With the most advanced diagnostics, leading-edge technology, and a team of doctors who know how to treat your cancer. And most importantly, we do it right here at the Frank and Edith Scarpa Cancer Center, Vineland, and the Leading Edge Cancer Center, Mullica Hill.
Imagine living without pain. For over 35 years, Doctors Beebe and Doyle have helped thousands of people find relief from all types of pain. Millville Chiropractic Center has 4 doctors on staff specializing in hands-on or light-touch, drug-free pain relief methods. The examination, x-rays, therapies, and adjustments are all performed at one location. Schedule a consultation today. Enjoy life without pain and discomfort. Millville Chiropractic Center, the area's #1 pain relief center.
Welcome back to Round South Jersey. My special guest is John Capizola Jr., who is the newest Cumberland County Commissioner. I was a commissioner, but most of my life I was a freeholder, because that's what the title was then, and I started actually, I started a little bit younger than you, John. I started when I was in my mid-30s. This was a funny story. I was not affiliated politically. You know, I voted for the person, so to speak, and stuff. And back in when I was in my early 20s, I said to a friend of mine who was a commissioner in Millville and who was a Republican, I said, you know, I think I'd like to join the Republican Party because I really admire Jim Hurley and that type of stuff. Mm-hmm. So he said, there really isn't any active Republican Party in Millville and all, so I just let it go at that. So I stayed independent. And then back in 1981, I was emceeing an event for the Democrats. And at the end of the event, the guy came over to me and said, hey, he said, would you like to run for freeholder? We need somebody from Millville to run for freeholder.
Wow.
Well, I thought, yeah, I always wanted to get into government. So anyway, I said, well, I'm not a Democrat. He said, well, you could go register as a Democrat. So I did. I went and registered. And I ran with John Renard from Cumberland County College and Gary Simmerman, the banker. I mean, super guys. And then I was the third on the ticket. The funny part of this thing is it was 6-1 Democrat.
Oh, wow.
The only Republican was Harry Freitag. So basically, Jim Quinn, young guy, nobody knew me from TV or something, but, you know, no political background, running against Harry Freitag, who was like unbeatable. So we got together about a week before the election, and Chuck Fisher was the director and all. So we're sitting around a table, all of us that are running, and Ed Salmon's running against Jim Hurley, and he points to Ed, he goes, Ed, you're a winner, and Gary Simmerman, you're a winner, John Renard, you're a winner, and Quinn, you can't win. And I'm like, oh my God, and I'm out campaigning. It's like, oh, thanks, pal. Great. So on the way out, he felt bad for me, so he came over and he put his arm on my shoulder. He said, look, don't worry about it. He said, John Rose is going to retire, and we'll appoint you to his position, and then in 1982, you have to run, you know, for that position. I thought, gee, then I can't lose, right?
There you go.
Then I find out they don't always tell you the truth because somebody didn't want me to run in 82. So I actually ran against the entire party. I ran in a primary, and I won.
Good for you.
And I was able to serve for 15 years.
Oh, wow.
9 years.
This was all through the 80s?
Yeah, I was from 83 till 91. 91 I lost on the Florio backlash.
I was in elementary school, so I don't really remember you.
No, that's right. You couldn't have voted anyway. And then it worked out well because I had just sold the cable company that I had to pay all that interest on, and I bought 3 radio stations. So I really needed to put my time into the radio anyway. Right. So then 6 years later, the thing I always wanted to do in my entire life was to be the mayor of Millville. So 6 years later, one of my employees came in. He goes, you know, Jim, you always wanted to be the mayor. It's that Millville election. And he said, business is good. We're handling everything for you. And I was getting a little bored. And you know us with ADD, we get bored easy. So I said, yeah, okay. So I ran, and I was able to be the top vote getter. So I was able to be the mayor. And the only person in the history of the city that ever won 3 terms, 12 years as mayor.
And you were an amazing mayor. I think about your time back. Millville was up and coming, and it was headed in a really, really good direction, and we got to get back to that.
Well, we had some great people, Don Ayers, Kim Ayers, and Kim Ayers.
Well, he had a good leader.
Yeah, well, we blended well together. And,
That's awesome.
And you know what, too, John, and you have this background also. I still say people with a business background make good elected officials because they know what it is to make a payroll. They have all these things you need to do. And this is a funny story. Here I'm supposed to be a Democrat, which I was. And I am a fiscal conservative, but I'm socially liberal. Yeah, I like to help people. So I'm sitting, after I lost in 91, they put me on the county college board of trustees. And Julio Mendez, I don't know if you know him, he was Superior Court judge, super guy. He was on the board at the time. Well, we had a fellow who was retiring. So my first thing was, let's go outsource it and find some business that could come in and do it. And he said, Jim, Quinn, how about that poor man that's at home with a family that needs those medical benefits? I'm sorry. I said, yeah, I got you. All right. Yeah. So sometimes I became too fiscally conservative.
There you go.
But it is tough. I mean, you know that. You've been in business.
Tough decisions you have to make.
You do. And it's very difficult to, be able
Especially
to
going through COVID. That was a tough time. I was a very small business, and just to navigate through that was tough. But you have to make hard decisions sometimes, and that's what life's about. Making hard decisions. It's not always going to be the popular one, but you have to make the one that's right at the time.
Yeah.
And you have to know that it's the right one. You got to move forward.
So right now, I know you haven't even had a week as county commissioner. So soon, I guess.
Just getting my feet wet right now.
They'll give you your assignments pretty soon.
Yeah.
Within another week.
I haven't yet, but I know that's coming. I'm getting my phone and my computer in the next day or two, and they're getting that all set up for me.
I'll tell you what, folks, I got to tell you, the county administrator, I know I talked to some of my Republican friends. They weren't sure who they were going to be able to get. They got one of the best people you'll ever have as a county administrator. It's Judge Hal Johnson. The judge had so many years in, and after 20 years, you got to get out of it being a judge. So he had some time available, and he is such a great guy. I love his sense of humor. Oh, my goodness. I just really enjoy. I miss him. He and Hope, his wife, she's a teacher, principal in Vineland.
Hope Johnson. Oh, I know.
Okay.
Well.
And, in fact, I ran into Hope and Hal out to Marigny's.
Okay.
About a week or so ago.
Great personality, Hope.
But he'll do a great job. He has such a good, I just enjoy being around him. He just makes me laugh. He's got such a good guy. So that's a hard job he's got. But with his background and being able to deal with the things, he's got patience, and he'll do an excellent job.
And that's the thing too. You have to let people do their jobs. That's the hardest thing about being a leader, is knowing when. You have to trust your people. You're looking at it, being an administrator, you have to you have to make the decisions when everything's said and done, and know that they're the right ones. But you have to let the people, like the teachers, run the school. A principal doesn't run the school.
Right. Exactly.
So it'll be the same thing with the county. You have to let the stakeholders, all the people in the community, do their jobs and just help them make the decisions and move forward.
I was so blessed on that aspect of it, because I had never been in government before. I did serve on a school board when I was living in Morrisville Township, but never really been in government, and this is a county level. And I had the Public Works Department, and I tell you what, John, this is funny. I got the department, January 1st, 2nd, whatever it is, of 1983. Well, we had one of the biggest snowstorms ever in February of '83 that hit.
Oh, you mean when it actually used to snow in those days?
Yeah, remember
when
it snowed?
Oh,
and it was so bad they had to take front end loaders and move the snow off the.
I remember those days. I remember going to the Cumberland Mall and seeing huge piles. You go to Acme, ShopRite, huge piles of snow everywhere.
Yeah. But I was coming back to the people. My father had worked with sand trucks, and he was friendly with a guy named Jack Feldus. And John Rose did stay one more year, and then John retired. So I needed a supervisor, roads department supervisor. And my dad mentioned Jack Feldus. He worked with him down at the sand company. I brought him on board, and Jack was also on the township committee in Morrisville Township and eventually became mayor. Oh, what a tremendous guy. And he had this was cute because he knew politics too. He goes, you know what, Jim? anything good happens, you get all the credit. He said, anything bad happens, he said, I'm taking all the credit. He said, I'll take the discredit or whatever. I said, well, thank you, John. But man, and the people that were there, Betty Garrison, and that's what it's all about, folks. They had the experience. They would teach me because I just gotten there and stuff. And boy, you're right, it is. I think of Millville, and yes, I had good success, but we had great people. I really, really did, and was so fortunate to.
And I'm going to lean on people. There's so many people just in the Democratic Party that have so much experience and knowledge, and I'm 100% going to lean on them and get advice. You need it.
Yeah, we have Karen that's been there a long time, and Donna Pearson was there quite a while, and I was there for 15 years. I had the first 9. And then I lost in 91. In 80, 89, and 90, I was the director. And 91, I was running, and I lost. That was the Florio backlash year, which happens a lot. In fact, it's funny. When you look at the years I lost in 81, 91, and 2021. So the one year was with the one. I technically won, but I really lost. I got the booby prize.
2031, you're staying out of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Right? I'm done. Yeah. No more ones. That's right as well. But it's... What made you want to go ahead and run for the assembly?
It's just it really boils down to, like I told you, just being around people and listening to politics over the years, and hearing it. I care about my community. I look at I've looked at what's worked, like in the years where you were working in Millville and you had everything running well, and I feel like we can get to that in the county. You can't keep the status quo. There's so many ideas that I have. I just need to find a way to implement them and find a way to, we're going in this direction and it hasn't worked for so many years, so why do we keep going in that direction? And that status quo, we have to break that. And I look at something like CC Tech, our county high school. It is a shining star. Anywhere, anybody that's, hopefully my son gets in there. He's in 8th grade right now. His name's Marco Capizola. So anybody that's at CC Tech, hopefully, he just took the test last weekend. But they're having a lot of success over there, and we need to take that same success that they're having, and we need to spread it out through the county. Not everybody's going to get a college degree. I probably should have became a plumber and electrician. They're making a lot more money than I do as an educator. And we need to start putting these people, these kids in these positions where they can go to school for, one idea is go to school for part of the day and maybe get out in the field and get some experience. Learn how to weld, learn how to work on car, all these new electric cars. There's going to be people that need to work on them. So why don't we innovate, and why don't we get programs going to head in that direction? So I feel like that's where we need to start concentrating on. It all starts with these kids. It starts with the kids, and it works its way up. What makes a nice community? Everybody moves there for the schools. And if you have good schools, you have safe schools, and kids are getting a good education, families are going to come to your school, and families are going to move to your community. And it's going to make your community better.
Yeah, it really will. And in fact, it's funny you talk about the welding. I had the Lowe boys, they're 2 brothers from Down Township, on several years ago. They won the national welding championship, both of them, 1 year and then the next year. It was beautiful what they were able to weld. And the superintendent was saying to me, Jim, there are welding jobs out there that start at $90,000.
It's amazing.
Because they are so needed, as are plumbers, electricians. But you know what? And when I taught school, I always said to the kids, do what you love.
You have to love it.
Money will eventually come, but do what you love, because if you don't, I would be bored to death if I had to be an accountant, just sit there and push numbers all day long. It's just, I have
it's not gonna work for you.
Bookkeeper that does everything for me. Thank God for her. And I have no technical ability. Thank God for George Cuccia, because he has all that. So you surround yourself with good people, because I couldn't do this. Johnny, if it wasn't for talking, I don't know what I could do.
There you go. And you're good at that.
Yeah, so I should be. I've done that for a long time.
But the ingredients are there. We just need to mix them up and bake that cake. And I feel like we can.
Well, and I think we're moving in that direction. I know Tony Trongone, I want to introduce you to him sometime, superintendent of schools from Millville, a tremendous person. He's president of all the superintendents for the whole state, and his experience, he's in his early 60s and brings a lot of knowledge. And talking about what you're talking about, auto mechanics and the things you need in all the high schools. In fact, it's funny, my granddaughter applied to CC Tech and did not get accepted. So about 2 days later, some guy called me and said, "Hey, Quinn, you got pool. I want to get my son in." I said, "I have so much pool, I couldn't get my granddaughter." And said, "Don't tell me I have pool." You know, so it is what it is. And I hope Marco does get in. And, you know, do you know what he would like to do?
So you have to pick 3 majors. The way they have it set up is you have to pick 3 different majors, and if you don't get in the one, then maybe you get in the second or third. He changes here and there. He's 14 years old, so I mean, but sometimes he says he wants to be an orthodontist. Sometimes he says he wants to be a weatherman. So maybe we can get him in this.
Nick and Jimmy Tenbrook. There's the 2.
There you go. So. He's still working his way. He's still young, but I know he picked, I think, like the medical degree. And what's great too, if you do want to go to college, the way CC Tech has it set up is you can either work towards a 2-year degree or 1 year, but you're leaving with college credits. And with how expensive college is now, it's just a great start. And why aren't we doing this in all of our high schools?
We are in most of them now.
Okay, good. Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah, it is, because Millville had 40.
But when I say that, I know Vineland did the small learning communities, and it was a great idea. Maybe the implementation wasn't perfect. I don't know. I wasn't involved with all that. But that idea of having the kids in a program, I really think that getting them out in the workforce, and instead of having them sitting in for me as a student, if you could have had me take my classes that I needed to take, and then I could have went to some kind of work program, that would have been so beneficial for a student like me. Because sitting in a desk all day, I wasn't paying attention.
No, I know, John.
And I keep that in mind as an educator now. And I always give that, to other teachers. Oh, this child's driving me crazy. They're jumping out of their seats. I always tell them, put a table where they can stand in the back of the room and they can pace back and forth.
Yeah.
You can ask the teachers at my school, the faculty meetings. I'm the guy standing in the back. I'm paying attention, but I need to stand up. I don't want to be sitting in a chair all day. I like to move around. So I feel like we could do it. This community.
Yeah, well, Johnny, I'll tell you what's wonderful. Jim Swift, who's a judge, tremendous person. He's my neighbor, and his daughter Chloe was in the radio, TV, communications field at the VOTEC. And when she graduated, she actually graduated from Cumberland County College, or Rowan College, South Jersey, Cumberland campus, before she graduated from high school, like a couple of weeks before. Oh, wow. So there she had 2 years of college degree plus her high school diploma, and she went to Montclair. So she's going to Montclair at 17 or 18 as a junior.
Wow.
And she's finished college now.
That's amazing.
And then,
if they do want to do a master's degree,
exactly. Yeah.
If you do stay there for the 4 year, it's a huge head start.
Yeah.
And it would have been nice. I would have loved that opportunity.
Yeah, and you're right. And I mean, it's like I said when I went to college, 17, and I substituted. Wow, what a great thing, because I saw, hey, I love this. So when I was at college, it wasn't easy for me to pay attention either, because I have ADD as well. And I would sit there, but I had the experience to bring to the table. When they talk about something, I could then say, well, yesterday when I was teaching 6th grade at whatever, we had this thing happen or whatever, and it kept my interest, and and I was able to do well, like through college, and go out. And then
I never think that, and I always tell my students is that I have ADD. I'm proud to say I have it. Some of the most successful people in our world have attention deficit. It's just we can focus on many different things at one time. We might not finish everything
that's true.
in a timely manner. I might start 20 different things, but so definitely successful people. A lot of entrepreneurs have ADD.
They do. And entertainers as well. It's amazing. Did you ever meet Sinbad?
I know who he is. I remember the comedian.
Oh my God, he's so great. One night he was in Millville, and
he's been in Millville. That's awesome.
Yeah, he performed, and I didn't get to the show that night. I had a person I was seeing down in Atlantic City. So on the way back, somebody texted or put on Facebook, Sinbad's at the Queen Diner if anybody wants to go sing.
Oh, that's cool.
So I went in, and I had a hard time for him to let me buy him and his entourage breakfast.
He's a tall guy, isn't he?
Yeah, it was only $60-some, but oh my God, we had a ball, because we both knew Joe Frazier. Joe was like family to me, and we talked about some funny things with Joe. And Martin Short, I performed with him at the Levoy, and of course he knew Martin. But the thing is, he's ADD, and that's his whole shtick when he does the comedy routine is ADD. And a friend of mine, she actually has written books on it, and has had a great success teaching kids and helping them them with the ADD. But boy, like you said, they've got energy. They go, and a lot of people have it.
You just have to learn how. If you can harness that energy, and you learn how to find what makes that child tick, the sky's the limit for them.
That's the truth.
And I'm happy to tell parents that. They're scared. When their kids are 5 and 6 years old and they're in kindergarten and they're getting in trouble all the time for not paying attention, they're scared. But I'm like, you'll find it. It's okay. The kid will find him or herself, and they'll be successful.
Well, it's funny, back in the 60s, late 60s, when I was teaching 7th grade, I had 70 kids, 35 in the morning, 35 in the afternoon. Now there's 70 kids. There were probably 7. But that time we didn't know ADD or any of that stuff.
Well, I wasn't diagnosed until I was in high school. I had was my Italian teacher called my parents. We're learning about this new thing in different workshops. Your son is the prototypical candidate, So it was nice to hear, like why can't I pay? When someone's taking a test and I hear the pencil tapping next to me, I'm paying attention to that instead of reading my test. And it has nothing to do with how smart you are. It's just about being able to focus.
Exactly right. It really is, because those kids that I had, those 7, I just used to say they're so ornery, and they were all boys too.
Plenty of girls have attention.
Now they do, I'm sure. But these kids didn't drive me crazy. The 7 boys, they made me earn my $4,500.
I think all boys. I think we all drive. We know how to drive everyone crazy. Right?
So, what department? Economic. I don't know what. Of course, they control whatever they give you, but economic development was one that I would love to be involved with that.
And I like looking at somebody like our Mayor Finucci in Vineland.
Oh, he's amazing.
He lives right around the corner from me. He was one of my customers in my business, and and the thing with the Democrat and Republican, I really don't care about that. I hope I don't hurt anyone's feelings. I'm going to make decisions, and I'm going to help whatever's good for this county and our cities. And I want to work with all the different mayors, and I want to work with anyone, regardless if they're Democrat or Republican. Matter of fact, I probably know the Republicans on the board better than I do my Democrat colleagues. So I think that's a great opportunity to.
Yeah, it really is.
To get everyone together.
It's funny, on the same page. From even when I was with the county, I just think the world of Anthony Finucci, my God. And the new mayor of Millville, she's a sweetheart. She does a really nice job. Al Kelly, of course, I've known forever.
I actually did Miss Millville, I forget that, at the high school with where I met her. Very nice lady.
Yeah, she is. And so in that sense, and we got some great township committee people that are mayors and things like that. There are a lot of good people, and you're right. I mean, to me, I don't care what party they are. They are here for us to help in any way we can. And you learn from each other. I mean, I've learned a lot from Mayor Finucci, and we have a really great relationship. And he does a show with me once a month. I really appreciate that. Sandy Forsiski is his right-hand person. She does a fabulous job with economic development. And I have to tell you, John, I had Kim Ayers when I was in Millville, tremendous lady, and the county is blessed to have her along with Jerry Velasquez at the authority, because they are putting together, and if you talk to Anthony Finucci, they help put together the whole Vineland Police Building in Millville. They're putting together the entire addition to the library. And what was interesting, too, I was on the South Jersey Development Council, one freeholder from each county in the South Jersey area, and I was so proud of the authority, the improvement authority at the time, because I'm at a meeting and Mr. Morey from Cape May County is bragging up the Cumberland County Improvement Authority on what they did to help them put in this shopping center in Rio Grande. And then Ben Laurie is the freeholder director for Salem, or County Commissioner Director for Salem County.
Don't give me a test at the end of the day with all these names you're throwing out. You've said about 2,000 names.
You'll end up saying them someday. But he said it was amazing what Jerry and Kim were able to do for Salem County.
That's good to hear.
They were mandated. They had to put in a courthouse, and it came in at like $80 million or $70 million or whatever. Jerry was able to go and do whatever his magic is and brought it in at 30.
That's great.
Yeah, so there are things where the shared services, I guess, is a good example of where you can work together and benefit the county, the municipalities, and even other counties where you work together.
Well, I know that the jail thing is a big topic that's going on, and I know I think it's February 10th, we're going to have an opportunity to look at some of the facilities. And I know I'm definitely going to take a personal day. I have a couple personal days. I feel like I need to get the whole picture. I want to get the whole picture there. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and I think there's been some good suggestions brought up by both sides of the aisle, Republicans and Democrats.
And that's what I want to hear. I want to hear everything.
Yeah, and there's some opportunities, and hopefully it will work out well. John, the hour went by quick, buddy.
It did.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Wish you the best as the newest Cumberland County Commissioner for the County of Cumberland, Johnny Capizola Jr., who is also a phys ed teacher. What school?
I teach at Rossi Elementary School
in Vineland. So when the kids are coming home smiling, you know it's this ADD guy. It's kind of all happy and
bouncing off the walls,
calming them down.
Oh well, today when they were singing the "Fly Eagles Fly" all day.
Oh, that's
we
right.
did the fight song every day. It was fun.
Thank God for the Eagles.
Yeah. Oh man, I was actually at the game yesterday. It was
that's right. When I called
you, a lot of fun.
Leaving. Yeah, I could have gone, but I'm getting too old.
Too much fun.
That's great. Glad you had a good time.
Thank you.
Did your son go with you, Marco?
No, actually, my uncle and my cousins have tickets. Luckily, thank Nick, my cousin Nick Biaggi. Thank you so much for having to go to your father-in-law's birthday party in Tennessee. I want to thank him for his 60th.
So that's why the seat was available.
That's why the seat was available. So I got to take his seat. So Nick, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
For Johnny Capizola Jr., I'm Jim Quinn. Thanks so much for being with us. We'll see you again real soon. George Kachia, thanks for producing our program tonight. Take care, folks. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
At Mintz Insurance, we're proud to have been serving our customers for nearly 80 years, offering 30 different insurance products for your auto, home, and business. And to help ensure that you're getting the best rates possible, we give you up to 3 quotes for every policy, so you can choose what's right for you. At Mintz, we're part of the community. Local representatives, supporting events, and proud of it. It's part of who we are. Mintz Insurance. Call today and find out how we can help you save on insurance, or visit us at mintzinsurance.com.
This has been a QBC television production, in association with our partners and sponsors. QBC broadcasts on Comcast Cable Channel 22, and live streams its programming on Facebook and YouTube. All rights reserved by Quinn Media and QBC, programming that serves the South Jersey market.